So today we're going to be solving for a variable again, part 2, and we're going to add a couple things in there like fractions and inequality signs just to kind of give you a glimpse. Make sure you have a calculator, just right with, and then we're good to go. Okay? So, first example is going to be a review, and then we're going to move forward. Okay? So, you're going to have essentially two letters, and it's going to tell you what to solve for. We're going to solve for y. So, go ahead and pause, write it down. If not, let's go ahead and do this. Okay? Real quick, there's no number with this y, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 there, as we always do. So I'm solving for y. So I'm y, negative 1 is my best friend. I'm going to kick out a positive 3x. The opposite of positive 3x is negative 3x on both sides. Okay? This goes away. I'm left with negative 1y equals. Yet again, I can't subtract this because that's an x and that's not. It doesn't matter what you put first. I'll go ahead and this time put the 15 first because it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put 15 minus 3x. Okay, because it doesn't matter which one goes first. You could have put negative 3x plus 15. Doesn't matter. Okay? And then we divide by the best friend. So we've done this before as well. Alright, that goes away. Y equals 15 divided by negative 1 is a negative 15. And make sure when you put in the calculator, that's a negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 1 is a positive 3. So plus 3x. Okay? And that's your answer. Yet again, the reason why we're doing this will become more apparent this later and then also next week as well. Very important skill. Boop. Alright, so that's what we did last class. If you got 3x minus 15, that also would have been correct. Now this class, we're going to add a couple different things to it, so let's make sure that we understand. Go ahead and pause, write down the problem. And make sure you're writing that we solve for y here. So here we go. Excuse me. Now, there is no rounding allowed ever. You are not allowed to round, and I will normally always want fractions if there's a decimal. And almost always you will be given a fraction. Okay, so no rounding. Please give me fractions if you have them. Okay, which you're going to see here in a second. So, we're solving for y. Your y, 9's your best friend. I'm kicking out 4x. The opposite of positive 4x is negative 4x. Okay? Goes away. 9y comes down. You can write them side by side. I'll go ahead and put the 4x first this time. So negative 4x. And since this is a positive 18, I need you to write plus 18 because it's positive. Okay? And then we divide by 9. So we should be kind of used to this by now. A little bit. This goes away. Y equals. So in the calculator, you do negative 4 divided by 9. And you get this long thing. And some of you are going to put negative 0.4, and that is wrong. No rounding, not allowed. I want you to go ahead and math enter, and make it a fraction. And it just says, again, negative 4/9. So you're just going to put negative 4/9, and then the x just comes to the side, like that. Okay? And then positive 18 divided by 9 is a positive 2. So we'll go ahead and put plus 2. Okay? And that's your answer. So if you're given a problem, I need a fraction. I do not want you to round ever. Okay? Let's do that one more time, and then we'll kind of show you something else. Well, hang on. Go ahead and write this down and draw your line. Just so you don't forget how to do the easy ones, here there is only one letter. There's not two letters, right? So don't forget how to do these ones. You're a D, 10's your best friend. I'm getting rid of 9, so I subtract 9. Okay, we've done this before. This goes away. We have 10D equals. Can I subtract this? And you should say yes, you can, because none of them, there's no letters here, there's just numbers. 15 minus 9 is 4. Or, whoa, 6. I'm sorry. Bad math teacher. Okay, so I subtracted there. And then we divide by 10. Yet again, you did not write those side by side because they're both just numbers. There's no letters there. And then D equals 6 divided by 10. And you get a decimal, 0.6. Now, could you write 0.6? Yes, because you wouldn't be rounding, okay? But I like fractions, and that would be 3/5. So I'm going to write 3/5. I'm a fan, if there's not like a word problem, I'm a fan of the fraction, okay? 3/5. So yet again, that's how you do it if there's only one letter, not two. All right, so let's see it with a inequality sign. Okay, so pause, write it. It doesn't say here, but we're going to go ahead and solve for b. We're going to solve for b. Okay, so we draw our line like we always do. I'm b. Negative 4 is my best friend. I'm kicking out 7a. The opposite of positive 7a is negative 7a. Okay, that goes away. We minus 4b. We rewrite our symbol. Do not write an equal sign. That would be wrong. And then, can you do negative 8 minus 7? And you're going to say, no, you can't, because this is an a and that's not. Doesn't matter which one you put first. I'll go ahead and write the a first. So I'm going to put negative 7a and then minus 8. Okay? So the reason I put minus 8 is because it's a negative 8. All right? Then we divide by negative 4. Yet again, stuff we've done before. Okay? But what happens to the inequality sign when your best friend's negative, when you divide by a negative? And when your best friend's negative, if you remember, the inequality sign switches the other direction. Okay? That's the only thing that you have to remember with inequalities, that they switch. Negative 7 over negative 4 is 1.75. So could you write 1.75? You could, because you're not rounding, but I like fractions. So 7/4. So 7 over 4a, and then do negative 8 divided by negative 4 is a positive 2. So I'm going to put plus 2. Okay? There you go. All right, so the only difference with inequalities is you flip them when the best friend's negative. If this were a positive 4, it would have stayed the same. All right, let's go ahead and do, actually, let's do it. All right, so we draw our line. Let's go ahead and this time solve for x. Solve for x, just for fun. Normally you're going to solve for y. We'll get into that later, but let's solve for x. So your x, 12 is your best friend. I'm kicking out the 6y. The opposite of adding 6y is subtracting 6y on both sides. This goes away. I'm left with 12x equals. Can I subtract? And you should say no, you cannot, because that's a y and that's the 20 is just a number. I'll go ahead and write the 20 first this time. So 20 minus 6y. You could have put 6y plus 20, doesn't matter. And then you divide by 12. Okay, you should be kind of used to this by now. 20 divided by 12 is 1.6 repeating, so we need to make it a fraction. Math, enter, enter, and you get 5 over, it's hard to read, but that's 5 over 3. I know you can't really read my calculator. 5 over 3. There's no letter there, so no letter. And then let's do negative 6 divided by 12. You get negative 0.5. You could write minus 0.5. That would be fine because you're not rounding, but I like fractions. So I'm going to put minus, that says 1/2. So minus 1/2 y. Okay? So you're just solving for a letter like we were before, but now you're giving me fractions, and then you're also going to see inequality signs. Also, real quick, you're going to be seeing parentheses a little bit. Not very much really later, but just to make sure you know how to do it. This is the very last example. We're going to solve for y, so we have to distribute. Do not forget how to distribute because we haven't done it in a while. Just don't forget that. I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 here. 3 times 1 is 3, and the y comes down. And 3 times a positive 4 is a positive 12. Okay, and then the 12x comes down. Solve for y, so your y, 3 is your best friend. I'm getting rid of 12. The opposite of adding 12 is subtracting 12. Can I actually subtract these things? And in your head you say no, because that's an x and that's not. So I have to write them side by side. So 12x minus 12 equals, and then the 3y comes down. And then you divide everything by 3. So yet again, this should all be very familiar, nothing too crazy. 12 divided by 3 is a positive 4, and the x comes down. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. So minus 4 equals y. Okay, so all in all, you're going to see fractions. Make sure you're giving me fractions, not decimals. And then you're going to see some inequalities. You know how to do those. That's nothing different. And then this will start making a lot of sense why it's so important coming probably tomorrow or the next coming week as well. So if you have any questions, please ask me. But there you go.